Evidence is defended by the government and the Bolivarian Revolution in the face of the irresponsible, disrespectful, and illegitimate conduct of the president of Guyana, Irfan Ali, instrumentalized by Washington and ExxonMobil Oil Company. This was part of the address.
The Essequibo is a sacred thing for us, and we're going to defend it with our fingernails in any scenario. It is a Venezuelan territory. It is a historically Venezuelan territory, and we are resorting to legality, appealing to real justice, to all the historical truth, so that this territory returns, and returns as it should after the fraudulent imperial maneuvers of 1899, and returns again to where it should be, which is to Venezuelan territory.
We go now to Ecuador, as the National Electoral Council informed that the processing of the electoral records has concluded in the 24 provinces. Almost 12 hours after the president of the Citizen Revolution, Luisa González, denounced serious electoral crimes committed during the campaign and throughout the electoral process, the highest body informed that it only remains to process the tally sheets with news of the 3 constituencies abroad where, for example, citizens residing in Venezuela did not vote due to a last-minute decision of the CNE. It is important to highlight that observers of the electoral missions of the Organization of American States and the European Union also pointed out very serious faults during the campaign and also during the voting day. In other news, Colombia is on alert due to a rise in yellow fever cases. In this context, President Gustavo Petro announced his intention to decree an economic and sanitary emergency in the country. Our correspondent Hernán Tobar with the details.
These vaccination points are located at the transportation terminal in the capital city of Bogotá. In view of the alarm caused by the increase in cases of yellow fever in Colombia and its high temperature and humidity zones, travelers to these regions are coming to Colombia as a protective measure and for fear of contracting it through the bite of the mosquito that transmits it.
I am panicking because if I get yellow fever, I know that it is deadly. I know that there is an epidemic of more than 50% of patients have died. So the truth is that I am going on a trip to Valledupar and I am going to get vaccinated.
An emergency situation that the president warned through social networks. He said that the disadvantage is presented by the climate crisis, lethal in densely populated areas such as cities. He added that it has a mortality rate of 50% and that out of 74 human cases discovered, 32 people have died, most of them in the department of Tolima. In another tweet, he said that in the Colombian capital, there may be several cases due to the travel of Bogotá citizens to risk areas during Easter week, a situation that must be counteracted through prevention not only in Bogotá, but throughout the country.
It is a virus transmitted by jungle mosquitoes of the genus Hemagogus or Sabethes, and it is a cycle that is there in the jungles, in the forests that occurs between monkey and mosquito. Occasionally, when people enter these forests or parks, for example, where this zoonosis occurs naturally, they can also acquire this disease. The mosquitoes can bite them and they can also get yellow fever.
In view of this situation, the Colombian president announced that in the next few hours he would decree an economic emergency and then a sanitary emergency. In view of the probability of an increase in the number of cases of contagion and the possibility of it spreading to densely populated cities, the Department of Cundinamarca has already declared a state of alert due to the outbreak of yellow fever.
The economic emergency seeks to obtain the resources to deal with this situation. Given the fiscal crisis that the state is going through and that the president himself has recognized and has given his explanations as to why we are in the situation we are in, this decree would allow the attainment of extraordinary resources in a quick and efficient manner, which is what is needed at this moment to deal with this crisis, to supply the hospitals and clinics with the necessary medicines and equipment to avoid a major crisis in the future.
El virus está teniendo una incidencia en departamentos donde
The
no se-
virus is having an incidence in departments where there had been no history of yellow fever, suggesting an indicator of possible infection in non-endemic areas, which is why the vaccine is essential to counteract contagion in high-temperature
en
areas.
zonas de alta temperatura. Hernán Darío Tobar Gaitán, Telesur, Bogotá, Colombia.
Now the news in Mexico, local governments implemented a series of activities for families during Holy Week. Let's see more with Antonio Aranda.
En la Ciudad de México, plazas y parques de la alcaldía Venustiano
In Mexico
Carranza
City, squares and parks in the mayor's office of Venustiano Carranza were turned into fun centers for families with inflatable games and swimming pools, among other activities.
Las fuentes danzantes son una de las atracciones más usadas
The
por los
dancing
niños.
fountains are one of the attractions most used by children to face the heat, which in Mexico City reaches 28 degrees Celsius.
¿Qué tal se siente estarse refrescando en las fuentes?
Muy bien, la verdad, muy bien.
I am very well, very well. The water is good so that we can all have fun with the activities that our governor offers us.
Nuestra gobernadora y también nuestra jefa de gobierno.
¿Cómo ves este parque? ¿Por qué decidiste venir? ¿Qué has estado haciendo?
I live near here, and we saw that this was announced on Facebook, and I came with my mother.
Anunciaron esto en el Facebook y pues vine. Vengo con mi mamá.
Estas actividades son parte de los esfuerzos de los
These
gobiernos
activities
locales
are part of the efforts of local governments to offer an option to families who for various reasons cannot go on vacation.
Me parece muy bien que pongan ese tipo de actividades.
I think it's very good that they have this kind of activities for the children who couldn't go out because of their parents' work. We couldn't go on vacation, but it's good to bring them here for a little while.
Vacaciones, pero qué bueno, los traemos un ratito a que se diviertan.
Los padres de familia destacan que las
Parents
actividades
emphasize that the activities are carried out in a safe and reliable environment for the community.
Pues me parece una muy buena idea. La verdad es
I think it is a very good idea. There are people who don't like to go out during these times, and I think it's a very good option for the children. There is a lot of security, and in fact, since we arrive, everything is very clean, and every time we go out, the town hall asks if you are comfortable, and everything for the parents who are waiting for us to be much more comfortable.
para los papás que estamos esperando no nos diera tanto calor.
Algunas personas consideran que la Semana Santa
Some people consider that Holy Week is no longer a period for prayer and spiritual reflection, but necessary to have a few days of relaxation from the stress of everyday life.
¿Qué opina usted de este cambio en las tradiciones?
Está bien.
This change in traditions is good because the truth is that I think that if you go and do what you have to do, which is to go to church, and then in the afternoon you come to play with your children, it is very good. For me, it is good.
Está muy bien. Para mí está bien.
Que se está perdiendo un poco, ¿no?
Tradition, it's getting a little lost. But now the older people continue with the tradition. We feel the Holy Week, and we have to enjoy it. And now we are resting.
Y ahora sí que descansando.
Como una forma de poder ofrecer lugares con esparcimiento y diversión para las
As a
familias.
way to offer places with recreation and fun for families, this type of splash pads and playground for children have been placed throughout the city of Mexico City. In this way, they will spend the Holy Week having fun in a calm and safe way.
Antonio Aranda, Telesur, Ciudad de México.
We now move on to other topics. In Cuba, the 19th edition of the Jibara International Poor Film Festival brings together works from many nations that offer a diverse panorama of audiovisual creation on a contemporary scale, as well as presenting diverse languages and an interest in telling stories through budgets that range from simplicity to more conceptual aesthetic elaboration. Let's see.
This is the image of that creative Jabara, a movie town, which enchants everyone who comes to this place in eastern Cuba. So says Elena, who arrives from Malaga, Spain.
I love Jabara. I would always come back to Jabara, and there is no festival like this, in which so many things are mixed, and also with the purpose it has.
25 films were chosen from the host nation, 11 from Argentina, 9 from Spain, 6 each from Mexico and Peru, and 5 each from Colombia, the United States, Chile, and Uruguay. This year, the competition is being held in the category of films under construction, in support of films to be made in the future, and this year's competition is even stronger due to the presence for the second time of Horizonte, which is joined by the Mexican studio Churubusco.
The presence of Churubusco Studios of Mexico in this festival responds precisely to support films of what is called cinema under construction.
Películas que están en proceso de edición, en proceso de su montaje y desarrollo.
Films that are in the process of editing, and development to reach the final product so that the support represents the possibility of completing the product.
De completar el producto.
The event has among its precepts to defend and promote the creation of the seventh art of low resources with a high aesthetic proposal, establishing itself as a cinematographic reference for Cuba and the world.
Cuando veo una película, aunque sea cineasta,
when I see a film, even if I am a filmmaker, I can analyze it at the level of script, photography, sound, whatever you want.
Los actores a nivel dramático, de fotografía, de sonido, de accesorio, de decorado, de producción, de lo que quieras. Pero lo primero en lo que me...
The first thing I notice is that when the film ends, I get goosebumps and my eyes water. Of course, later, with the jury, we start debating that this is so, and it was better. But I think the essential thing is the emotion.
Esto ha estado así, esto ha estado mejor. Pero yo creo que lo esencial es la emoción.
Long live Jabara, that fishing village, which these days becomes the capital of cinema in Cuba, a unique experience to be lived at the festival.
Danis Rodríguez Laurencio, teleSUR, Ibarra, Cuba.
Venezuelan Minister of Defense Vladimir Padrino Lopez ratified that the Essequibo is a Venezuelan territory sacred to the soldiers of the homeland, which will be defended in all instances. The Chief of National Defense of Venezuela explained what the